Great morning. Great morning. How are you guys? Let me adjust this just a little. Great morning, everybody. How you doing? If you are watching the replay, good afternoon, good morning, or good evening. I may have said them out of order, but it's all the same. What's up? Okay. Hold on. All right. Let me go ahead and let's tag a few friends. I overslept this morning, you guys. Completely overslept. Like, completely overslept. I'm amazed I look even a little decent. But I completely overslept. But I'm ready for the day. I'm ready. I'm so ready for the day, even though I did oversleep. So thank you so much for joining us. I am feeling even more like myself as the days continue. Feeling even more like myself, feeling more back to myself, and that's good. Just tagging a few friends who often join us since I definitely overslept this morning. Like, yeah, was sleeping real good. I don't know about good. My son, oh my goodness. We fell asleep on the couch last night. And, oh my goodness, my toddler, rough sleeper. Oh my goodness. And so, yes, I overslept because his feet were all over me in my bag and just, oh my God. Great morning, you guys. I see you popping on. Great morning. My goodness, he was all over me, you guys. How can such a beautiful child sleep so terribly? Oh, Lord, have mercy. But I see you guys. Thank you so much. What's up, Laskaya? How are you? Let's see. And that is the beautiful Lana this morning. Hello, gorgeous. How are you? Great morning. Great morning. So thank you guys so much for joining us. I'm going to go ahead and tag our sis here. She is so faithful. And yeah, so I overslept this morning. So I appreciate you guys being so gracious. But sleeping with, hey, Sheridan, what's up, sis? Sleeping with that little one. Hey, Tanisha, I see you. Oh, my God. Ooh, it's amazing. I got any sleep. Back hurts, neck hurts, everything. But great morning to all of you guys. It is Thursday? Y'all, it's Thursday. Good morning, Jamelia. Great morning. It is Thursday already. Jeesh. Already, it is Thursday. Oh my goodness. Laskaya said, I'm blessed and highly favored, walking in God's grace and mercy and his abundance. Let's go, Queen. I love that. So listen, y'all, we're making our way through this bad boy. Look at that. For those of you who have stumbled upon us, maybe someone tagged you in the video, maybe they shared it with you. We are reviewing this book and they thought that this book review would be a blessing to you, but it's not just a typical book review, y'all. We are really digging into some stuff here. The book is Business Secrets of the Bible. The subtitle, Spiritual Success Strategies for Financial Abundance, written by Rabbi Daniel Lapin. Talks about a lot of Jewish wisdom, but it has the Bible as its basis. And y'all, as you can see, we are on secret 22 out of 40 secrets. We are over halfway there. It has been such a beautiful time reading this book. It's blessed me tremendously. And while yesterday we talked about the fact that change is scary, today we're going to talk about the fact that as painful as change can be, y'all, the reality is it often contains the seeds of growth. And so this is a really good one because we all go through change. Oftentimes change can feel so traumatic to us, like we talked about yesterday, especially, if it's sudden change. But the reality is We need it. Good and grateful morning to you too, beautiful. What's up, Renee? Renee's already been up working, you guys. Already been up working. 6:30 this morning. She's been on Zoom hosting presentations and doing stuff already. So she beat me, this morning. She up and she doing things. So let's go ahead and let's start in prayer, and then we will just continue on to secret number 22. How's that sound, y'all? So great morning, Heavenly Father. Thank you so much for another beautiful, amazing day. For today is a day that you have made. We shall rejoice and be glad in it. God, the fact that we are here another day means that you still have purpose for us. And we thank you because just as Laskaya said, we are blessed. We are beautifully blessed this morning. We are highly favored. We are walking in your grace, your mercy, and your abundance, Father. And we're grateful because even this morning already, some of us may have honestly just risen for the day. Some of us may have been awake for hours, but regardless of whether it was 5 seconds, 5 minutes, or 5 hours, God, you've already done things for us that we could not have possibly done for ourselves. So we stop, we take a moment to recognize you for who you are, our Father in heaven, throughout heaven, above heaven, and in who is present in any and all things, who created us, our master creator, who loves on us like nobody else could possibly ever love on us, our master mentor, our master guide, the one who teaches us. Father, we thank you for being any and all things whenever we need it, God. You are our counselor, you are our doctor, you are our lawyer, you are our teacher, you are our educator, Father, you are our mentor, you're our coach, you're everything that we need. And this morning we stop and we say thank you. And Father, you told us in your word, you said that wherever 2 or more gather in your name, you'd be in the midst. So Father, show yourself this morning to us as only you can. Let us feel your very presence, not just know you're there, but feel you are here with us. And we will be so gracious. We will be so honored to give you all the praise and all the glory. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. All right, y'all, let's dig into today. Renee said, I'm so grateful. Have your way, Lord. Yes, 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 yes. He is everything, y'all. And then she said, change contains the seeds of growth. That is the purpose of today's chapter. So this is about to be so good. It was a really short chapter. It's a really short chapter, only about 3 or 4 pages. Really short one, but a really powerful and impactful one. I love it when they're short, they're powerful, and they're really impactful. And you're like, man, how did he get so much power in a couple of pages? But he did this time, as he has every time. This is what he wants us to understand just from the get-go, y'all, that change is unavoidable. But if you're not changing, you are totally stagnated. Avoiding change lead to stagnation. And that's not what people want. People want what change offers. They just don't necessarily want to go through the change to get it. Because one, you don't know what the change is going to consist of. That's one. Oftentimes we are unaware of what it's going to consist of. Most of the time, when it leads to great growth, there can be some great pain and discomfort. And not physical, like someone's twisting your arm pain and discomfort, but pain and discomfort nonetheless through growth, through extending or expanding your comfort zone. Oh my God. I think about, well, I'll read this next sentence first. He said that if you don't embrace change, you cannot grow and you won't ever be successful. There are many circumstances of sudden change that people seeking to increase their wealth should rush to embrace. You guys, that right there, there are many circumstances of sudden change. And remember, sudden change is that hard, painful change that people seeking to increase their wealth should rush to embrace. I remember 5 years ago, and some of you guys have heard this story, but not everyone. 5 years ago, in our last network marketing company, we were doing relatively well. And I remember we still were financially strapped, but we were still doing we were moving up in our network marketing company, we were advancing through residual ranks. In that company, we did not realize something. What we didn't realize was that the compensation plan wasn't that great. We didn't know. And we were doing a lot of work and we just weren't getting paid an awful lot. Okay. And so, we didn't know because it was the best compensation plan we had seen up until that point. So we didn't know. But we were really pushing. We had hit one of the leadership ranks. I need something to rub my eye. We had hit one of the leadership ranks, and one of the ranks that they consider you're definitely leading in a market. Just keep going, and now you're really creating markets, right? And so I went to a training. I went to Florida, as a matter of fact. We had a national training event, and it was in Florida. And I went. My husband did not go with me. Why didn't he go? Because honestly, we didn't have the money for both of us to stay in a hotel, for both of us to give airfare, so for both of us to buy a ticket to the event. Whenever we would do those things, it would cost, oh, here we go, paper towel. It would cost like in the excess of like $1,000 for the trip. And we would have those particular trips 4 times a year. Okay. And so this time we did not necessarily have the money. Sorry guys, my eyes itch a lot. We did not necessarily have the money for both of us to go, but we were able to accommodate me. So as I was in training, I just got a breakthrough. I got a breakthrough at that training where I told my husband, I called him and I was like, babe, I know what we need to do to hit the highest rank in the company. Now, the cool thing is that that compensation plan was not huge. It was relatively flat. There were only like 6 levels, I think. Hold on, let me see really quick. Yep, 6 levels. And we had already surpassed, we had already hit 2. So there are only 4 more left. That was it. And I remember saying, I know exactly what to do now. I had worked it out in my head. The breakthrough I got, I knew it was just math. I knew it was just math. It was merely a fact of if you're willing to, and when I say just math, I knew what like I'm a numbers person, and so I understood how many people we talked to. I understood out of the number of people we talked to, how many people said yes. I understood that if I wanted to, like, that we had a 30% close rate. So if I talked to 10 people, 3 were going to say yes. I knew that. So I knew that that meant that if I wanted to sign up 9 people, I needed to talk to 30 people on average. Like, I knew those numbers. And so when I left that training with that breakthrough of exactly what to do, how the numbers worked, I was like, I got it. I know exactly what to do. So I called my husband from the training. He was like, okay, cool. And so what I did, I was like, we can hit the top rank in this company based upon these numbers. We could do it in 1 year. We could do it in 3 years. Like, it completely depends on the amount of work that we're willing to do and how much we can actually fit into a day. So what I did, instead of focusing on the time, I just focused on the number of people that I was going to talk to, share the presentation with, prospect. And so I started counting down 1 of that number, 2, and it was like 10,000, 1 of 10,000, 2 of 10,000, 3. I just started doing the countdown, however long it took to finish that number. And that was in July of 5 years ago, would be 2016, correct? Yes. So that was in July of 2016. What was really interesting is I came back on fire, ready to work. So we got July, I'm working. We got August, I'm working. And at the very, very end of August, like literally August, September, God put a halt in everything, where I knew with absolute certainty, the way that I'm talking to you is as clearly as I heard his voice say, no, you're not about to do it. What? We've been with this company now for several years. We finally have the foundation we need. I finally get the breakthrough that we need. Now we're ready to go full steam ahead. And God puts a halt in everything. And I was so confused and upset. And I remember thinking, no, this makes no sense. Now, up until this point, I had also been learning other things. I had been learning how to produce content. I had been learning how to create content, produce videos, create written content. I had been learning how to do those things at the same time for a strategy, which is called attraction marketing. And I remember learning how to do it And I also remember being conflicted because a lot of the people in my organization didn't like that stuff. And so my leaders didn't like attraction marketing techniques. They only liked the traditional form of building a network marketing business. And so that day when God and I are having this conversation and he completely blindsides me, he says, you didn't learn everything you were learning for you. You learned it because I want you to teach it to other people. What? I barely understand this stuff myself. Now, at this point, I have been studying it for probably 2 years. Remember when I told you we were going through that foreclosure process? And so what I do is every time that we have a bill collector call or a piece of mail would show up or the nice gentleman who'd sit outside our house and make sure we were still there and the house wasn't vacant, anytime any of those things, or self-sabotaging thoughts that didn't serve me, anytime those things would happen, I'd immediately do one of several things. I'd start calling prospects. I'd start creating a piece of content, written content, video content, email content, whatever that was. I started doing all of those things. So over the last couple of years, I have been practicing and learning that skill set, but I did not think I was proficient enough that I could actually share and teach it to anyone, right? So when God says this to me, I'm like, this makes no sense. How am I going to show somebody something? I don't have any credibility in this area. No one knows me for this. Why would they listen to me? Who's going to listen to me? I remember having these conversations out loud, audibly with God, like, what are you doing? And then I finally said, it literally was the same day after going through this emotional battle. I was frustrated because things were going well in our other company. Things were starting to grow. So I was frustrated. And I say to God, okay, fine. You're not going to make me look ridiculous because I'm going to tell everybody you tell me to do it. I'm going to let everybody know that you told me no to me to stop. This is what you're going to do. And I don't think you're going to make me look stupid. I remember saying that out loud. Now, fast forward, I don't know how to articulate this to people. Not even my husband. Everybody was confused. Like, why'd you just stop? I literally just stopped working in that company. I didn't make another phone. After that day, I didn't make another phone call. I didn't do another presentation. I didn't show up to another meeting. I completely stopped doing anything in that company. Nothing. Not one single solitary thing. Nothing. And so it confused everybody, even me, and I didn't know how to articulate what was happening. And so it was then September, and I remember it. How do I remember it so well? That's a really great question because I have pictures to commemorate it. I remember being at this coffee shop in Crown Point, Indiana. It's a really quirky, really nice coffee shop. It was the coolest little coffee shop. And I remember being there, and I took a picture with this beautiful cup of latte. I need to go back to that coffee shop. They have the coolest lattes and stuff. Beautiful, huge cup where they do the decoration on the top. It was just gorgeous. And I took a picture. And to this day, I still have that picture because that was the day, one, I decided to go all in and launch this business. Two, I found out I was pregnant with Jacob. Yes. It was crazy. I was like, wait, what? So I found out I was pregnant, launched the business all at the same time. Right. And so, it was a lot all at once, a lot. And it was a very difficult change. And why else was the change difficult? My husband was pissed that we were having another baby. He was not happy. So God says, start this business, launch this company. Same day that I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go in. I go to the coffee shop. I sit down. I start business. The same day I find out that I'm pregnant. My husband's pissed off about having a baby. Like he was disconnected that entire pregnancy. It was a very difficult pregnancy. And it was hard on my body. It was hard on my body because I was considered high risk. I had 2 high risk pregnancies. So it was hard on my body. Oh my God. And when you're older, having a baby is already high risk, but it was hard on my body. I had a prescription for morning sickness. I was sick all day. It was awful. And I remember one day I was in the bedroom and I was just in tears. I was just crying. I was literally in tears. And I remember Giselle seeing me, and she came in the room and she was like, what's wrong? And I was like, nothing. And she just gave me a hug. And that happened often and nobody would know it was happening because I would just like kind of retreat to the bedroom. And that was because it was a very difficult pregnancy in addition to launching this business. And I was just like, God, what are you doing? What are you doing? Oh my God, what are you doing? Fast forward. This was a painful period. It was really, really difficult. I depended so much on my online family, this community I created. They nurtured me during that pregnancy because my husband was emotionally absent during that pregnancy. He was just not happy we were having another baby. All he saw was money. He didn't see Jacob, you know? And I remember it being so hard to name Jacob. I remember it being the hardest thing. We could not figure out what his name was going to be. And it was hysterical. Like, it's so funny how these things happen. And so finally, we come up with Jacob. And I don't think I really include him a lot in that process because he just, like I said, he just wasn't really emotionally present. So towards the end, we start thinking of some things. And finally, we decide on Jacob. Jacob Jeremiah is his name. And because he was such a brand new addition to the family, you guys, it took me weeks to get Jacob's name right. Like, it's the silliest thing. I would keep forgetting his name. I'm like, it's not Jalen. It's not Giselle. Jacob. Like, I would literally keep forgetting. It's the weirdest thing because it was such a traumatic, painful time. And so, fast forward, you guys should know, Jacob is not here for me. Jacob was born for LaWayne McGee. Because when I tell you that bond, the moment he was born, that bond right there, I would never have thought that they would be as close as they are. Jacob is in love with LaWayne. It took a while before he was even interested in me. He is in love with his father. Do you hear me? He is the only kid out of all three of them. I'll say, go ask your dad. He'll leave and immediately go to Wayne. Go play with your dad. Immediately leave and go play with Wayne. He spent the majority, especially once he stopped nursing. After that, yeah, I was done. I was just a meal for Jacob. After that, he spent all his time with LaWayne. All of it. Today, now, if you come in my house, if Jacob's not playing with Giselle or watching TV with Giselle, he is hanging out with LaWayne McGee. Yes, he is. It is crazy. So that is his son. I literally was just the incubator. As emotionally detached as he was, I often tell him, you do realize that we all know Jacob is your favorite, right? Like, all of us realize this. Like, you treat him better than me? We do realize this. And so it's so interesting how challenging that time was and how close they are. The other thing that was really painful about that time period was the adjustment of, and all of it happened at the same time, man. Oh, the emotional roller coaster. All of it happened at the same time. The other thing that was really difficult about that time period was stopping that company that I knew we were going to get to the top of that company. But God knew. Let me tell you, a lot of things happened with that company that had we gone 2 ranks more, Wayne was going to quit his job. 2 ranks higher from where we were, and we would have gotten there probably within the first year of me having this breakthrough, this epiphany. Wayne was going to quit his job. I can only imagine what life would have been like had he quit his job, because that company was not in a position to be able to continue to pay people. They ran into a huge financial issue, huge. And at that level, people were not getting paid. God knew. He knew. I didn't know that was coming. He knew that was coming, and it started the very next year. I believe it might have been in 2017. He knew. We didn't know. Okay, so that was one. Then I launched this coaching company. And the crazy thing was, I didn't know how to launch a coaching company at all. But guess what happened? I sold out my very first program, and I was like, what? That first year, I earned $10,000. Taking an idea from my head and just putting it on paper. And I was floored that I was able to earn $10,000 just taking an idea from my head and just going with it. God says, do it. I just started doing it. And so it was impressive what was possible. And that laid the foundation for this. Now, when was the next painful change? Last year, when the pandemic hit. When the pandemic hit, let me tell you, last year, we finally had put some pieces in place, finally had systems in place. We were ready for our first 6-figure year. You can't even convince me it wasn't going to happen. We finally had got some things together, finally had an onboarding system. And I knew what kind of client I was looking for. And I knew that client was willing to pay. And we were ready. And guess what? The pandemic hit. And I lost my clients. Poof, gone. Another change. A lot of people struggle with that change with the pandemic. The amazing thing about that was that happened in March. I started acquiring customers again. So for April and May, 0 revenue, 0, big goose egg, no revenue. April and May of last year, none. My last payments came through for March, and then April and May, nothing. And then I acquired another client in June. Okay. Acquired another client. I was like, okay, great. We're going to get things moving again. And then my husband got curious about the network marketing company that we're part of now, that concept. We added that stream in July. I wasn't prepared for that. Wasn't even looking for it. Completely focused on coaching. The two of them together, pow, explosive. And just like that, all of our revenue came back. Just like that. And so that change was painful. Because a lot of people with COVID, they lost everything. They lost their income, 100%. They lost their revenue. That was me. We're in a gracious place where my husband still works, but we still needed both of those incomes. We still needed his income, my revenue. We needed those in order to be able not just to sustain, but to move forward. And so it was a frightening change. But one of the things that he says here that is really, really important, he says, change is coming. It is constant. It will involve stress, and stress involves pain. You must learn to deal with change so that you can embrace it in order to seize upon the opportunity it provides. Realize that change means the possibility of improvement. I cannot stress enough the sentence where he says, there are many circumstances of sudden change that people seeking to increase their wealth should rush to embrace. That was me. I didn't rush to embrace the sudden change that I incurred 5 years ago. I didn't rush to embrace it a year ago. But guess what? Both of them catapulted us forward. And I'm grateful in hindsight for all of it. Would I have done it that way? No. But God knew exactly what he was doing, because had we pushed further along in that last company, let me tell you how dope this is. Had we pushed forward, we would have hit those ranks, but it would have only been 1 year and we would not have been getting paid. Just 1 year. The next year, when they hit that financial snag, we wouldn't have been getting checks, because those higher ranks were the ones that were struggling to get paid, not the lower ranks, the higher ones, right? Not only that, we're in that company. We learned so much about how network marketing works. You guys, let me tell you, I am a coach, but I'm also a network marketing professional. I do this. I love the industry. I'm unapologetically passionate about that industry because it has freed me. It's freed a lot of families. It's created first-time millionaires. It gives you the flexibility to do those things, those purposes that are on your heart. It gives you the ability to do them. It gives you the freedom to start the nonprofit organizations you want. It gives you the freedom to fight for the causes that you want to fight for, because now you got the income and the revenue and the wealth, and you're not tied to anybody's job to be able to do it. You got ultimate time freedom. You got ultimate money freedom. You are 100% flexible. You can work from anywhere. You are a mobilepreneur. If you want to work from your car, you can do that. If you want to travel across the country in an RV and never lose a check, you can do that. If you want to take a yacht or take a cruise, a 365-day cruise around the globe, guess what? You can do that, and you can still build that business. And you impact people at a level that a lot of people haven't been impacted before. So I'm unapologetically passionate about network marketing. Don't care who doesn't like it at all. That industry is amazing. I love it. And I will always be in it until God tells me not to. I love this industry. Okay. When one company fails, it hurts us all. When one person doesn't do the business right, it hurts us all. So I am cheering for everybody, no matter what company you are in. You don't have to be on my team. You don't have to be in my company. You are in this industry. I am rooting for you. Just hands down, period. We are all part of the same team. We all need each other to win. We don't all have to be in the same company on the same team. We don't. So I'm grateful for that last company because, see, that last company gave me a bachelor's degree in network marketing. I learned everything in order to build a business. Now we brought that over to our current company. And so I didn't realize when we came here that we were having success fast. You don't know what you don't know. I didn't know that. And I didn't realize that that was impressive. I thought that was just what happens. We just did what we knew you were supposed to do. So here we got a faster start than we did in our previous company. And we're already making more than we made in that company because the compensation plan is better. And so what happens now is I literally am getting a graduate level education in how to build this business, because I'm working with people that know what they're doing, and because I got all that experience in that last company. I'm grateful God did that. I'm grateful that he put us in a position in our last company to really learn some things. I'm grateful that we had the leadership that we had, because it was a little stifling at times, but we learned what we loved and we learned what we didn't like. We learned what we knew we incorporate, we knew what we would not incorporate. And when a better compensation plan came, and when stronger, more mature leadership came, we were ready for it. And because of that, yes, we're having success here. And last night at our team night event, oh, Renee, I wish you could have came, sis. Last night at our team night event, one of the most interesting things happened. We looked around and we realized we are truly pioneers in creating culture in this market, creating a team culture. And so as we were talking, they were like, you guys, we should do this summer. We should do this. I was like, we absolutely should do that this summer. Absolutely. And we're not going to talk business. We just going to have fun. You could bring your families. You could bring your children. We're going to have events where you can do that. And we're creating a culture. And I looked around that room and I was like, thank you, Lord. Because of everything we went through in that last company, everything we learned, that is why we're able to have the vision. And sometimes people don't understand the vision. Sometimes they don't. They don't. And that's understandable because all of our experiences are different. But I'm so grateful. All that change we went through, that at the time, when I'm telling you, it was remarkably difficult. Y'all, it was remarkably difficult, but I'm grateful for every single ounce of it. Every single ounce. Yes, I'm so grateful, man. So he talks about, he gives a, I'm not going to go through all the stories in the chapter because he gives several stories, but he said what he wants us to understand, a person that he talks about, he came to know that what he calls both frightening change and change that contains the seeds of opportunity. This is important, y'all. Listen to this. So there's frightening change. Then there's that change that contains that seed of opportunity. And we got a really good example of that. A lot of people went through frightening change last year when the pandemic shut everything down, right? Frightening change. Well, the pandemic didn't shut it down. Our government did. But the pandemic caused them to. So frightening change, and then there's change that contains the seed of opportunity. Often these two kinds of change are the result of the same event. Okay? Embracing change is another way of saying opportunity. Man, y'all, this is good. When change makes the future look scary and bleak, ancient Jewish wisdom tells us to look to the past for guidance. That's so good. And then he starts to discuss some stuff from the Bible, right? He says that when he talks about this gentleman, he says it's a very common story. How many times have you known someone, maybe yourself, who was laid off or fired unfairly only to bounce back twice as strong? People often not only find a new job after losing their old one, they often find a better, high-paying job that they never would have even looked for if they had not had the misfortune of losing their old job. How many people over the last year are not in the same position they were last year? Like when the pandemic started, a lot of people lost jobs. It was difficult. People had to go to food banks for the first time in their lives. The lines were miles long. Like, people had to get assistance for the first time in their lives. They had never gotten any kind of assistance before, public assistance. And that's difficult for a lot of people. It's hard. When we had to do it, it was hard for me. So I know it's hard, right? And so this is the interesting thing. Think about how many new businesses are out here. Think about how many people literally launched new businesses. Mask companies, really? Yes. So many types of decorative masks nowadays, right? Think about how many people launched businesses from their home. If it weren't for the pandemic, most likely I would not have even entertained the thought. I just wouldn't have thought about, but because we were in a position where I had lost 100% of my revenue because of that, now I was in a position to be like, okay, maybe we need to look at what this is Wayne is interested in. I was open because I had lost my revenue 100%. So I was open when Wayne was like, hey, how does this work? I was open. His curiosity turned into us getting paid, right? And I could tell this is you. She says, that's what happened to me 18 years ago, and Skinny Mini Inc. was my change. See? And she has just the most beautiful 18 years in the game entrepreneur, right? I don't know how, because she only like 25. But that's what's so amazing. The change will catapult us because it can be traumatic. But the reality is when we embrace it, you guys, on the other side of it, it can be beautiful. There are people that are going to come out of this pandemic as we're prayerfully getting to the end of this, that are going to come out. They just laid the foundation for amazing financial abundance because they launched new businesses. Some people collaborated for the first time. Some people lost their jobs. And guess what's going to happen? They're going to find better ones as a result of this pandemic. Okay. So what's important to understand about change is this. We're all given a purpose. All of us have a purpose. Some of us don't necessarily know what it is, but we all have a purpose. And we need to understand that our purpose and our plan are not the same thing. He gives a couple of examples. We're not going to go through all the examples, but the purpose and the plan, they're not the same. We got a purpose, and sometimes the plans will change, right? That's where change comes in. Sometimes it's shocking change. But change will adjust our plans, but it will never adjust our purpose. That's powerful. Change will adjust our plans, but it will never adjust our purpose. God created us for a reason, for a purpose. We all have an assignment. So your destination won't change, but how you get there might. It's simply you making a trip. There's construction. They have a detour. You take the detour because the street you would normally take, you can't take that one anymore. The expressway you would normally take, you can't take that until they finish construction. So there's a whole detour. You take the detour, but your destination never changed. Your destination in this example, you guys, that's your purpose. It does not change. The detour, that's your plan. So your plan may have to change, but your detour doesn't. God's plan has always been for us to impact thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. That's never changed. That plan has always been there. My husband's one of his spiritual gifts is the gift of exhortation. My husband encourages people all the time on his job, on Facebook. There are people that know him on social media. We'll go to it. This would floor me when this would happen. We go to events in our last company, and I remember one time a bunch of people came up to him. A bunch of different random people, like random. They were like, are you Big Wayne from Instagram? Man, your post blog, and it's constant. It happens so many times. I was just taking pictures. I had no idea. Because I never really looked at Wayne's social media. We lived together. Like his social media, well, I just never paid attention to his social media. And I had no idea there were thousands of people that he had been encouraging every single day. One of the things we hear often is about his posts. We hear it all the time. And so I started paying more attention. I was like, this dude is dope. I had no idea he was being this encouraging on social media. And so God has always known that we were going to impact hundreds of thousands, impact the masses. So the purpose has not changed. However, the plan has. I thought it was going to be in that last company. No, that was just a piece of the journey. And then the next part of the journey was for me to become a certified Christian business coach. I never wanted to do that. I didn't even like the concept of coaching. I felt like it was an overused term and people overuse it. Most people who use the term have no clue what coaching is because that's not what they're doing. I didn't even know that until I was educated and I went back to school for that certification. And so here, that was the next piece of the journey. And then the next piece was for us to get exposed to this wealth community. So the purpose never changed, but the plans did. God adjusted our plans, but he never adjusted our purpose. Okay? So we all serve God by fulfilling our destinies and serving our purpose in his plan. Y'all, that's powerful. In his plan. He talks about Jonah and Joab, but we're not going to go into those details. So he says both Jonah and Joab recognized that their purpose was to serve God in this way, but they were flexible in how they did so. Right? So that brings up like a really good point. Are you so rigid with your plans that you don't leave room for God to do what God needs to do? Like, you got to be flexible and allow God to do God's thing. Because the reality is we're doing what he has designed for us to do anyway. Or is it you are literally edging him out and your plan is your plan and it's so strict that you're not giving him any room to maneuver? You better give him some room, because he'll shake all that stuff up. I'm just saying. They allow for and they embrace change. They did not allow change to affect their purposes, but they did allow themselves to adjust their plans based on changing circumstance so they could still carry out their purpose. You guys, that's powerful. Both men had clear visions of what their mission was, and this made it easier for them to cope with the sudden changes that came their way. They were able to cope with the fear and the stress that change brings by maintaining a sense of purpose. When you understand and you have a clear vision, things may shake you up. You may get afraid of some things. You may get nervous about some things, but you will still continue to move forward because the vision, that ultimate purpose, it still drives you. You can still see it even when things get scary. When that is stronger than your fear, when that vision is clearer than the fear that you have, you can shift around and maneuver and adjust your plan so you can still get to that ultimate purpose that God has for you. Okay? So the lesson is that change, while scary and stressful, can carry the seeds of growth and good fortune. This is true in business, or this is as true in business as it is on the battlefield. We must remain true to our purpose, but accept that change will happen and adjust our plans, behavior, and business tactics so that we may not lose sight of our underlying purpose. Embrace change, and you may find fortune where you thought there was only misery. Y'all, this chapter truly, truly blessed me because I had not in some time thought about how difficult 5 years ago was. I hadn't thought about that. Last year didn't seem too painful. I felt like God shook some things up. For some people, it was exceptionally painful, and I recognize that too. But I had not thought in a while how, man, 5 years ago, that was a really hard time. Emotionally, it was just hard. It was a hard time for me, not necessarily for my family, for me personally. Everybody in the family was fine. I was going through something, and it was a very difficult time. But I'm so grateful because that put us in an even better position. When we downsized, this is the last thing. One of the things in our last house, our house was bigger. The one that we lost, it was bigger than when we moved. And so, it had the beautiful basement, we had a beautiful family room, living room, dining room, 3-bedroom home, kitchen, all of that. It was really great. Beautiful backyard, whole nine, right? And then when we lost that house, we downsized into a townhouse that was 2 floors, but it was small. So I could stand here and see the entire, like I'm in the living room, I'm looking at the kitchen. That's the whole first floor. There was like a laundry room and a bathroom, but it was just small, okay? Very compact. And then there was an upstairs with all 3 bedrooms. And then, of course, a full bath. It was very compact, okay? And it was We downsized significantly. We had to get rid of so much stuff when we moved in that place because it was tiny in comparison to where we had come from. And so one of the things that was hard, the change that was hard there, was being on top of each other. Because we all had space, but my husband didn't have space like he normally had space. Like he would normally have the whole basement. Nobody was really interested in really doing much down there. So he normally have his basement space and, and all of that. And so he didn't have that. So we literally were on top of each other. And I loved it. I loved it because it gave us a lot of cohesive family time. That was where me and the kids developed new things like doing Just Dance together. And to this day, my daughter still does a ton of Just Dance. That's where we started doing a lot of things together. That's where I started taking them to the park a lot. That's where we started going for walks a lot. We do a lot of different things together. And so that's where I think we really bonded more as a family, because we were on top of each other. So you either gonna bond or you gonna fight. You got a choice. And I chose to bond. And that's what we did. And we just kind of bonded. And I think that's where a lot of that came from. So that was uncomfortable change. But yet at the same time, there was still the blessing in it. And so I'm praying that this was helpful for you. This particular secret, it was powerful for me, y'all. Tomorrow we're talking about secret number 23, which says that because change is a constant reality, life is more accurately depicted by a video than a photograph. That's going to be fun to read. All right, you guys, have an amazing Thursday. I will see you tomorrow morning. Y'all know the drill, 7 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Eastern. And perhaps I will not oversleep tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye, y'all.